The Parsha Shemos is capable of sustaining us for an entire year. In the Moranayim, the Parshas Bereshit and Parshas Shemos are the two longest Parshas of the Siddur that he has. That we go over. It says Parshas Shemos is awesome. Diet Coke?
Sure, everything.
No, that's the fake Diet Coke.
Oh,
caffeine free. What way? What's the purpose of caffeine free? No, don't bother. It's not there.
Disregarded his orders and stuff with the midwife crisis.
Moshe Patrick said Diet Dr. Pepper. I saw earlier today. Everyone said.
I like that line. He said, "Power had a midwife crisis."
I like that. When you're raising the chicken now, you're not supposed to lie.
Oh, look at that.
They never fail. No Martin, salt and pepper.
What happened?
Yeah, consistent for 40 years with that.
Yeah, crazy. I think more than that.
Right, maybe, yeah.
He's only been here for 25 years.
On that one passing, there's a mountain of Torah. The Moranayim says, Shemos B'nai Yisrael, every Jew has a name.
Thank you.
The name that we were given by our parents is the name that of the Tzura of our Neshama. And that's why the Zohar says that the parents have Ruach HaKodesh. The last piece of Ruach HaKodesh of Nebuah that's available to all Klal Yisrael is the names we give our child. Because the name has to match the Neshama. It has to. And Chas v'Shalom, if it doesn't, then there's a problem with them. That's why there's a Shino Hashem. We change the name, right? Because if there's a difficulty, there must be that the name and the neshama are not matching, or there's a schism, there's a break between the name and the neshama. So therefore, the name that we give our children is a matana from HaKadosh Baruch Hu through Torah. Eilish Shemos B'nai Yisrael. These are the Shemos of B'nai Yisrael. The Klal Yisrael has the name of Hashem, the neshama within us that gives us our connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And if we pay attention to that, to the Isis of our name, we would be able to find our tafkid in our world. And so the HaKadosh said, so therefore, when a person says, Kriya Shema Mavita, they should have in mind the Isis of their name of their mother's name of their father's name maybe, and the Shem Hashem. That's interspersed, or in the word Neshama, this interspersed between the Isis. So the Moranayim God does something which is rare in most Chassidish farm, is he opens up. See, you have the Moranayim over here. What's here? It's right here. He says you have to know that the names of the Shem Hashem is embedded within the very essence of every single Jew, including every part of the body. So he says, so the Shem is Hashem that is inside of every single Jew is that if you talk about the Shem Yud Kei Vav Kei with the Aishas with the Nekudas of Chachma, which is the comets. That's our head. Chachma. The Shem Hashem with Shid Kei Vav Kei with comets. The brain is a Kadosh Baruch Hu, is the Kadosh Baruch Hu's name, Patach, Das. The heart is the name of Hashem of Yud Kei Vav Kei with Seirei, which is Bina. Bina B'Balei Mahu. That is the The right arm is Yud Kei Vav Kei Segel, which is Chesed. The left's the name is Yud Kei Vav Kei Shemo, which is Gevurah. The body of a person is the Chaylim, strength of the body. Shoik Yamin, the right
Thigh.
the right thigh is Yud Kei Vav Kei Chirik, which is Nesach. The left leg is Yud Kei Vav Kei with the Isis of Kubutz, which is Hoid, and the Bris Hois Kodesh is Shuruk Vav, the Midas Yesod. So very rarely do you find any of the forms that will actually say these are the Shemos that are embedded within the body of every single Jew. Every single part of our body has the truth of Isis, the connection of Isis that make us who we are, and therefore that's one of the But this really comes from
Yeah, read.
it's not besides it comes from the Sefer Yitzirah.
A little different.
No, this is except for that the Sefer Yitzirah is much more focused on the parts of the face of a person, and therefore he says. So you have Rosh's Keser, the right side of the brain is Chachma, the left side of the brain is Bina. The right ear is Chesed, the left ear is Gevurah. The right eye, the left eye says the Sefer Yetzirah is much more preoccupied with the parts of the face of a person. But nevertheless, either way, I mean these are all emes, these are all Seidos HaTorah. And that's what they have in mind by Shemoneh Musaf on Rosh Chodesh. These Shemos all are found in the Siddur. So there's a fascinating Ramban. I had seen it 7 years ago. We did the first Aliyah in Shemos 7 years ago. Because I underlined it then. I said, "No, why did I underline it?" No, I know why I underlined it. The Ramban says when Moshe Rabbeinu comes to Yomer, when by the snare, there's a couple of important pieces to all of this. The snare is Rashi says, why was it the snare? He says Balabas Eish, that he saw that the Vayera Malach Hashem Leon Balabas Eish Mitoich Asneh. Vayavine Asneh Boyer Beish Asneh. Who called it the sneh, which is a thorn bush, very lowly bush, and filled with sharp protrusions. Laba says now it doesn't only say that the heart of the fire, you saw the flame of fire. Rashi adds like an awesome description. Rashi adds b'shalheves eish, a part of a fire. Liboy shalesh, the heart of a fire. Kamoy lev hashemayim, like the heart of a shemayim. What's the connection? Okay, I see a fire, big fire. Like lev hashemayim. What's lev hashemayim? That's not the only part of the Rashi. That's sort of awesome. The second part of the Rashi says, "Mitoch hasneh v'lo ilan," not a tree. Mishum ima enochi batzara. I am together with him in the tzara. So therefore, what does the sneh represent? The sneh is, Rashi says, ima enochi batzara. The sneh is batzara.
Because it's low,
It's low, it's thorn, it's on fire, it's not burning, it's not being consumed.
I think a tree is bigger than that.
Right. Tree, you got to look up. A tree on fire is a big spectacle. Here is a snare, lowly snare. But if you look at that capital 10 of the Kabbal, that pasuk is switches who's talking to whom. Right? Vayeshev says Elyon Bekel Shakaya Sloinon, sitting in the protection of the cell Shaka and Sam Sloinon. I'm saying to Hashem, Hashem, Hashem is my protector, he is my fortress. I'll trust him. Because he saves me from the trap from the teeth of a trap. Is from plagues. He carries me and covers me with his arms. Underneath his wings, I am protected. You are my protector. You have placed your dwelling place on high. Okay. Now here switches. Nothing bad will happen to you. It switched from Atka Hashem Maxim. Hashem is my protector, and then goes what switches to second person? Because Hashem will protect you, send Al Kapayim will carry on in his palm of his hand. Hashem will stab, pound on all of our enemies. Who is that? I'm yearning for him, and I will save him. I will lift him up because he knows my name. Who's talking? Who's talking? What then? Switching between first, second, third person. Because he yearns to be with me, and I will save him. I will lift him up because he knows my name. I will call him, he will answer, and he will answer. I am with him in his sorrows. Who is with whom and whose sorrow? And Rashi is telling us that Hashem's telling us that I am feeling this pain of Klal Yisrael. So the Shechina, right? The Shechina is the Tzar. So there's a great discussion of in the Swarm, Shabbos Swarm, etc. What's the purpose of davening?
Which part?
Davening tefillah. What is davening?
Kesher.
Hashem needs our tefillahs.
No, it's for us.
It's for us. It's for us. I think Hashem, give me. That's the purpose of tefillah.
Well, that's the whole purpose of Sukkot Zitna. To prepare us to be able to say, give me.
Yeah, but then so what's the purpose of praising Hashem? Hashem needs the pat on the back. Hashem, you're really great.
Cleanse ourselves.
You're really great. Hand over the good stuff. So when you talk about the Machshavas from Befrat, said that our purpose is to bring HaKadosh Baruch Hu's presence in this world, because that's the reason why he created the world. He created the world, he created the Alamas, because Hashem is Tov, Tachlis HaTov La'etiv, the ultimate benefit of that which is good is to give to another one, to somebody else. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu is Tov, but HaKadosh Baruch Hu Tov then has to be a recipient. The moment that the recipient connects to the Tachlis HaTov, to the ultimate good, that was the purpose of creation. The purpose of creation is to be mashlim, the Ratzon Hashem, to complete Hashem's plan for the purpose of creation. Not that we should receive Hashem's good, But that when we open ourselves up and receive Hashem's Tov, then we are completing Hashem's Ratzon. We're giving us says we are completing Hashem's plan. We are giving back to Hashem the completion of His purpose of creation. So that tefillah is preparing ourselves to give back to Hashem the purpose of creation, which then says, is that what we're thinking about when we're davening? So Hakol Moedim, everybody admits that the translation of Baruch Atah Hashem, the Hashem is you are blessed, is a mistranslation. Baruch Atah Hashem, Hashem you're blessed. But you gave us Baruch creates. She says, because the word Baruch either means that Hashem, you are the source, you are the wellspring, you're the makor. Baruch, when it's one pshat, Baruch is Hashem, you are the wellspring, the makor. The brecha is a wellspring. The Balatanya in Tanya and the Likutei Torah says, "V'shavto Hashem, v'shavto ad Hashem l'kecha," that Hashem ki koshalta ba'avanecha, says we bring HaKadosh Baruch Hu down to our world because Baruch comes from Birkayim Tzatayis. Baruch Atah Hashem, Hashem, you brought yourself down to our level. You brought our world. You gave us. You brought your presence into our world in that which you have given us. And so therefore, when we make a bracha and we enjoy the gifts that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives us, in Befrat on Shabbos, we make the bracha and we're eating that which HaKadosh Baruch Hu give us, the hana, the pleasure, the gifts that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we are at that moment completing the Ratzon Hashem. Not only is it because the HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to deal with Hashem want to live in our world, is that the whole purpose of our world is to complete the Ratzon of Hashem. And when we acknowledge that we are connected to the Ratzon of Hashem, then we're completing Hashem's Ratzon. We are the Morna brings a number of times from the Zohar. We are noticing we're giving back because we're strengthening Hashem's presence in our world. We are giving back to HaKadosh Baruch Hu that which is impossible to describe. Because Ratzon Hashem is infinite, and we're giving back to HaKadosh Baruch Hu the awareness that His koach is infinite and present in everything in our world. Because there's no place that that you can't find Hashem. It's the famous Kotzke word. Yeah. Where do you find Hashem?
Wherever you look.
Wherever you let Him in. He says, so this is Moshe Rabbeinu. It says, "V'yom Moshe asur neve'es hamar gadol zamadu li v'asna." V'yom Anochi Elokei Avicha. It says, "Anochi Elokei Avicha, Elokei Avram, Elokei Yitzchak, Elokei Yaakov." V'yaseh Moshe v'yom me'habit Elokim. Moshe was afraid to look at Elokim. Elokim is Midas Hadin. Moshe said, "I don't want to know Midas Hadin." If you're going to your presence, what you are offering, what your presence is, to show Iman that Hashem is suffering along with Klal Yisrael. He says, so you want me, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you want us to acknowledge the tsar of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the tsar of the Shekhinah that's not connected to us. So he said, and Hashem says, yes. I see the pain of Mitzrayim. I am experiencing the pain. It's not I hear their cries because they're being suffering. Because I know I am experiencing the pain. I'm connected to the pain of Klal Yisrael.
Is that supposed to make it easier to cope? Meaning, misery loves company. Like I'm happier if you're also suffering. Like, is that the concept?
No, that when we connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it's possible to get out of the suffering. We're only suffering when we're not fully connected to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. When we're connected to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, then we're not suffering anymore. There's a hope that Hashem can lift us out of the suffering. But I'm skipping around a little bit. You need tzakas, so boy alive. I got research halachas. It says, and now I've heard their cries and I saw the suffering. It just said, wasn't enough if they heard Hashem heard the cries. I see the suffering. Now take Vayeshev b'Yisrael Mitzrayim. V'yom Moshe Elokim mi anechi ki elok kapara. Right. So why does Hashem tell me? So Moshe says, who am I to go to Paro?
We just said Hashem didn't see the suffering when they were suffering.
Yeah. Hashem waited until Bnei Yisrael called out, say, Hashem, we see that you're suffering. We're suffering, we see that you're suffering too. Otherwise, people walk around and say, listen, why is Hashem picking on me? Why am I suffering? And the answer is, I'm always, huh?
What's the answer?
Yeah. Why am I suffering? I thought Kodesh Baruch Hu was suffering because I'm not connected to him.
I don't want to hear that. Kodesh Baruch Hu suffering, we suffer.
And therefore, we're suffering. And there's many ways that is expressed. One of them is that there's mitzvahs for every part of our body. There's the Ramach Sagirim and the Ramach Mitzvah and Shasam Mitzvah say there's a parallel in Torah for every part of our body, for every limb and organ of our body. And the Gemara goes through the Ramach Gidim, and the Ariya Kodesh told his Talmidim, he says, if you know how the name of Hashem or the part of a Kodesh Baruch Hu's Ratzon that is connected to that part of the body, which is connected to the body, you heal the body. The only reason why we're suffering is because we're not connecting. Because we're not connected. So we have the Sefer HaRav goes through, and not all of the entire mitzvahs, but a whole bunch of them tell us which mitzvahs connect our eyes, into our ears, into our brain, into our mouth, into our teeth. I will be with you. I'm going to come to Bnei Yisrael and I'm going to say, Hashem, send me, what name should I use? What name should I use?
Of Hashem. Which class?
So there's I have to say, there's the Ibn Ezra here that's like 20 pages long to describe the.
Is it the name of Hashem or which name should Moshe use?
He says, the Ramban says the Moshe Rabbeinu is asking Hashem, I want you to show me Shem Hashem. I want the Shemus of Hashem to be revealed to me, so that I can know how to say. I know.
Did he have it on the mountain?
Yeah, but he had to read it. The Tzachadash Bachab was on the mountain.
Yeah.
On the mountain. Lefi Dati. This is the Ramban. Lefi Dati Moshe Gambe. This is on Pasuk Gimel. You see it there? Lefi Dati Moshe Gambe Esei Ab Chachma Gadol. Moshe Rabbeinu at that point was a tremendous chacham in Nevuah. But Malas Hanvuah was at the highest level in Nevuah. I want to know who's sending me. What midah is Hashem sending me with? Just like Shaya asked for. So are you sending me with the power that say that which you revealed to the others? Then he goes on to say, next column. V'oid Omar Mahu Keya Shekeya Sha'ata Hoive Imi Kachani Hoive. The way you treat me, that's the way I'm going to treat you.
Yeah. It's a.
Yeah. Right? If you open up your hands and give tzedakah, I'll open my hands and give you tzedakah. If you don't open your hands to give tzedakah, speaking about tzedakah. We got right? The Ramban, just in your favor.
things from Kabbalah. Actually, it's fast.
Yeah. This is it. If you open up your hands, so will I. And if you don't open, Maksiv and Yasser b'mayim b'Vayeshev, I'll dry up the world. So when Rashi said that by the snare, there are two parts. When he said by the snare, Balabas Aish, and Rashi said, shall have us Kamoy Lev Hashemayim. Rashi was saying because Kodesh Baruch was opening up the Lev Hashemayim to Klal Yisrael. It's a flame that never gets extinguished. It's the one that called Moshe Rabbeinu. So Moshe Hashem said to Moshe Rabbeinu, Moshe, take a look. I'm opening up Lev Hashemayim for you to see. What's that Lev Hashemayim? So she says, not a tree, not a bush. The Kodesh Baruch was inside in the pain of Klal Yisrael, and we say the thorns and being stuck in the pain of our world. Hashem was with us in our pain. Or we can say we are with you, Hashem, in your pain. And that is it's difficult for us to use these words because Kodesh Baruch Hu is Ani Hashem lo shenisi Hashem. Hashem never changes. Hashem never changes between before and after creation. Believe Vayeshev, believe Sachdus, believe Oidva Misra, Aval Yisrael. And nevertheless, what HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave Klal Yisrael Matan Torah was the ability to have a relationship works both ways. Hashem brought the Shekhinah into our world and said, Klal Yisrael, I'm giving you a Matan. I'm giving you the key to open up the world to the Ratzon of Hashem. And when we do that, we are giving back to Kodesh Baruch Hu the completion of his purpose and plan of Bria Soil.
I want to about Masha Ruach. We return with the Ruach from out of breath. We'll marry again.
And every week's done. So it keeps on going. We keep. Just in terms of Dikduk. Things that sometimes pay attention to it.
I skipped
The
that.
punctuation of a siddur, right?
I skipped that.
Who is like you that has all the power? Who can be compared to you? How do you read it? How do you read it? Where do you put the?
Should be after Melech.
Where do you put the punctuation? Melech maybe some So they said you should not say Melech maybe some Chaya.
That's about which I was about
Should
to
be
just
after
say.
Melech.
Either you stop at Melech or it's one phrase. Melech maybe some Chaya matzvich shuva naman atalach is missing. That you have to say this one sentence, not to divide it up. Because we don't only look at the Kodesh Baruch Hu, only as giving us Hashem is maybe some Chaya. Matzvich shuva naman atalach is missing.
Yeah, it's been a big melon.
Just as one of the proportion of the Suda said, pay attention to where you put the punctuation. The things we skip over so quickly. So Ramban says if you start putting together just the pieces on the Ramban, along the other portion that the Kodesh Baruch Hu came to send Bnei Yisrael into Mitzrayim, so that we should discover the Shemos of Hashem. Eil Shemos Bnei Yisrael. To take a look and see all the parts of Klal Yisrael, who we are as individuals. Every part of us has a connection to the Shemos of Hashem, as well as all of Klal Yisrael.
That's the number
Shemos
one
Bnei
thing we
Yisrael.
kept is our name. The number one thing we kept was our name.
We kept our name. Eil Shemos Bnei Yisrael. We kept our names. Right? And we were per Tverayas.
There's no names. Not like in kindergarten something. I went to Ruby Gym and maybe it was after some time I felt I was with Namen. And it's never found a cornice like that. So it's Ruby Gym maybe it was Zachar Namen.
Right. This gives the full list to tell us that the very names of Bnei Yisrael are the keys to our list to discover Hashem. We cannot be just Ruvain or Shimon or Levi. It's cute today.
How come they teach us
In official Schefter's piece of Torah that he wrote for this week magazine, he says this is a classical Brooklyn story. Two people are fighting about who's going to park in a driveway. Very cute.
Ma'asim b'chol
Yeah. He says what happened was the Reuben Shimon, they were three friends who rented a driveway so they could go to Davin, They would rent the driveway. So they divided it up. One was going to have Monday, Wednesday, the other one was going to have Tuesday, the other one was going to have Sunday and Friday. The two of them are fighting. They're fighting who gets the driveway. Why? Because the one who was supposed to have Monday wasn't there. So Tuesday wanted to take Monday's part, and then he said, "But it was now still my Tuesday, is still my part." He said, "But you took." So they're starting to argue. They're starting to argue with each other who's. And it's getting
Heated up.
heated. And he says, "Yeah, I can prove to you that I'm right. When the Kohen gets to the Aliyah and there's no Levi, who gets the second Aliyah?
The Kohen.
The Kohen makes a bracha again." The other said, "What are you talking about? I never heard such a thing in my life. I never heard everything such a thing in my life. That the Kohen gets this thing two brachos."
Great
Right?
analogy.
So the guy just shakes. You know, Mr. Brewer, he goes into his car, pulls out a Mr. Brewer, shows him if there's no Levi, the Kohen gets two Aliyahs. The guy said, "I don't know what you're talking about. It never happens." The final president says, "Yeah, if the third guy comes around, don't worry about their parking space. He's a Levi. He never heard Kohen get two Aliyahs."
Right.
Great line. We sometimes get so caught up in what we're seeing in front, in the fragments of our world that we don't step outside. So he says, I don't know if he says it, I meant to say it. The reason why Moshe Rabbeinu was sent to the Golus, and Ramban says that Moshe Rabbeinu was left the base power when he was 12 years old,
Right.
maybe 20, but so Moshe Rabbeinu was disconnected from Klal Yisrael for 60 years at least. Why? Because Moshe Rabbeinu had to be outside of Klal Yisrael if he's going to help them get out of Mitzrayim. Aaron HaKohen was in Mitzrayim, was suffered with Bnei Yisrael. He was the manig of Klal Yisrael in suffering. But if you're inside, there's no way for you to know how to get out of it. Only because Moshe Rabbeinu was outside.
The bird's eye view.
He could see. So he said, "I'm outside of Klal Yisrael. I didn't suffer along with Klal Yisrael." Moshe says, "Yeah, that's why I want you to do it. I want you to go tell Yisrael that Kodesh Baruch Hu is with you in your suffering." For Aaron HaKohen says, "Yeah, Kodesh Baruch Hu, we're all suffering together." Moshe Rabbeinu says, "Go tell Bnei Yisrael that Kodesh Baruch Hu is suffering, and I see how Kodesh Baruch Hu is suffering with you." And therefore, Rashi says that's why the snare has to be on Yichud Batzor.
See, Moshe's wasn't Moshe was.
Moshe was out, whatever challenges Moshe Rabbeinu went through outside of Bnei Yisrael, whereas Moshe Rabbeinu's own personal struggles.
Wasn't Shibud of Mitzrayim.
I thought Moshe felt the pain of Bnei Yisrael. That's why he named his son Eliezer, because he was still connected to them, even though he wasn't in it. And that's why he became the Manash. Because he felt it.
He could feel it only because he was able to see it objectively. Aaron Cohen experienced the pain of Klal Yisrael on the inside, and therefore Aaron could take what Moshe Rabbeinu's son was given, and then he could give it over to Bnei Yisrael. Bnei Yisrael do hear it because Aaron had been with him inside of the suffering of Klal Yisrael. Where's the piece of Rambam? He hates it. So then we pay attention to the shame of Kaya, which is one which we don't use. We use Adnus. We see the Yod. There's no place in our tefillas that we use, at least obviously in any form, the shame Kaya. This is the only place you find it. Any place in Philly you doesn't find it, you don't find it.
We don't use it in Yom Kippur davening.
Yeah, that's his whole problem. That's for the Shliach Tzibur. Yeah.
The Rebbe says it, I'm like, it's like I hear him saying it.
That's on Yom Kippur.
You're sure Yom Kippur, we say it in
Hineni. Only Hineni. The Shliach Tzibur says it. Yeah, and that's the whole question about that whole tefillah, right? It's really great. I don't know if we've never had the experience, but we were friends with Chazonim. The Chazonim have a whole procession for Hineni.
That's their
choir come marching down from
that's their piece.
Yeah.
I remember
So
as a kid coming home, I won't say who
It's like Shabbos.
hearing it. Could have been better. The Hennedy could have been better. That's a few words. I remember hearing as a kid.
Yeah,
And it's
so like the whole.
I didn't say who I'm just saying I used to hear. Oh, the Hennedy could have. His Hennedy was better last year.
All the experts.
Yeah. So the only reason why we can say that is because we're asking Kadosh Baruch Hu to be with us. We're going to Mishpat. We want Kadosh Baruch Hu to be with us and to know our pain. Spice is really good.
It's a good thing the river skipped. That looks like a serious piece of salt.
No, that's where the cap. That's where the cap fell off.
That's what's getting the river's up.
Would he eat it?
Again.
Good. I'm not taking it.
So that doesn't even.
And a lot of people said you shouldn't say Kennedy. Kennedy was, it was sort of like for the Shliach Tzibur to say for himself.
That's the case. I might have said out loud.
It's only
not only said out loud.
it's just only the end.
Parts of it said out loud.
But if we say it, it's because I'm with you in your pain. Right?
Yeah.
So then we can say, okay, so then give us a Shana Tova. So the Ramban says that the Kaya is because the Aleph because it's the first letter of the Aleph base, is that a Kodesh Baruch Hu can be found in the first in the Aleph of a Kodesh of the Aleph base, connected to the K, it's the Hey, and then to the Yud K, right? It says that because it's higher than all the other Shemos. It's a Shem which represents the Kodesh Baruch Hu, I will be, before Kodesh Shenivra Olam. And by the way, it's interesting, show you. It's interesting that Balatanya changed the nusach that we have. Every morning, when we say the Kriya Shema of Sukkot Zimra, right? We say Shema, Atu Ashnever Olam. There was another nusach. Wrong volume. There's a sefer. It's called Shiur. It's written by a Talmud of Chassid, a big Talmud of a Talmud of the Tzemach Tzedek, and he went through the Siddur Ari. He made a cheshbon why the Balatanya changed nuschos. He said the Balatanya had gathered together 60 different siddurim. So trying to figure out what is the real nusach Ari, what's the correct nusach, and he made a number of changes. Some of them were incorporated in our siddur. Some of them you'll find in the.
Now there's 61.
Huh?
Now there's 61.
Another 61 because the Shah HaKoil, because the Ari HaKodesh says every one of the Shvatim had their own siddur. Every one of the Yud Beit Shvatim had their own nusach. But there is one nusach which is Koil, the Shah HaKoil. So nusach Ari is supposed to be the Shah HaKoil. So the Balatanya spent the time to sift through. Okay. In the old nusach, which is found in those are you were there before you created the world, and you were there after you created the world. And the Balatanya says it's not right, it's not correct. We have what's really Balatanya's nusach. You were there before the world was ever created. Here he says Atahu. You were there before. Hashem was there before there was ever creation. Atahu, you were there before the world was created. But here he says Atu Kodim Shabbat. He says it's wrong. He says change the nusach. And all of our siddurim, we have really the nusach that the Balatanya put together.
And he reached on the nothing to do with creation of the world.
That's right. And yet, Hashem says, I'm with you in your pain. And that's the gift that Kodesh Baruch Hu gave to Klal Yisrael, for us to be able to see and to feel and to be able to give back to Kodesh Baruch Hu. The greatest nachas that Kodesh Baruch Hu gets is when we give back to Kodesh Baruch Hu the completion of creation. Yeah, it's one. That's all it's calling. When we bezechet that Kodesh Baruch Hu shall open up our eyes to be able to see the Shemos of Hashem in our world around us, in ourselves, outside of ourselves, in our world, and we'll be able to see that Kodesh Baruch Hu brings us. This is the union of Geula. Geula is Kodesh Baruch Hu should be able to Baruch Hashem Goal Yisrael, Baruch Hashem Goyal Yisrael. That Hashem not only did he with Goal Yisrael, Hashem is Goyal Yisrael. That Kodesh Baruch Hu. That's the difference. In Tehillim, every side says Shir Lanu Shir Chadasha or Shir Lanu Shir Chadash. Shir Chadasha is for the past. Shir Chadash for the future. And we're there to be able to see Shir Chadash and see that. So we end up the bracha by the Haggadah Shal Pesach.
Have to make matzahs.
Yeah, time to start thinking about making matzahs.
It's Erev Shabbos.
Erev Shabbos. No, Shabbos.
Shabbos.
Shabbos is Erev
It's
Pesach.
Erev Pesach matzah.
Yeah.
So we let it bake.
Right.
Are we let it bake on Erev Shabbos?
I mean, it's a 3-day.
The answer is yes, you're allowed to. And there are rabbis that do that. They bake right before the Seder. Square the Rebbe makes right before the Seder.
Motzei Shabbos?
Matzah Shabbos.
we bake Shabbos?
No.
I asked my father why not. He says because you got to be crazy to do it. He says, "Mashu, come to Mashu. How can you?" He says, "Who's going to take the Christ
What
to
are
do
you
it?"
looking for?
The chocolate's better, don't worry.
All chocolate's good. I just, Morty digs. I always wonder, what is he actually looking for?
Listen, he's looking for the sparks of kedusha that's in every the word. It's in the food of a
Maybe wouldn't understand.
Yeah, the
Nitzaitis with the God.
It says Sakadacious, the holy sparks. Everybody have a wonderful Shabbos.